Unforgettable time at the happiest place on earth. Nancy and I have spent weeks researching experiences from others who have planned and experienced their own multi-gen vacations. We have taken our own experiences and lessons learned over several decades of trips to Walt Disney World many times, several of them as multi-gen adventures with both our children and our parents, and have combined all of this knowledge for you in what we have today. We have over 120 considerations, steps, recommendations, and ideas for you, organized into 13 different categories such as communication, lodging, meals, and much more. We will take you through each of them one by one with only a moderate amount of narrative not to waste your time. Much of this video's content can be used by you for any multi-generational vacation. And by staying to the end, we will provide you with a tangible special bonus to thank you for taking your time to view our video's entire content, so you will want to stay to the end. We will periodically post an updated version of the guide with your and everyone else's recommendations that are added in the comments. So as you watch this video, please do leave suggestions for us. And lastly, please feel free to share this video with others. A journey begins with the first step. And now, let's make our way through our ultimate planning guide. First up, communication. This collection of suggestions and ideas focus on why communication is so important throughout the planning process and provide specific steps to support you and your family's planning efforts. Acknowledge this is the key to maximizing everyone's enjoyment and creating an abundance of lifetime of memories. Communicate early. Communicate often. Everyone going needs to have buy-in, needs to be heard. Input is needed from each family group, otherwise there's no true buy-in from all. Input is needed from each traveling family member from the toddler upwards. Communication and planning is two-way. It cannot be just one person down to the group. Need to communicate each attendee's top priorities and what they are most interested in seeing and doing. Agreement from the entire group on at least some of everyone's top priorities. And you need a point person to document and communicate out to all in writing what you agreed upon. Next up, planning. These recommendations include steps to take in the planning process to maximize the enjoyment of everyone. Failing to plan is, well, it's vital. Planning a full year before the start of your multi-gen adventure is not too soon. The earlier that hard planning is started, more time is available for detailed logistical tasks and availability of desired lodging, restaurants, and so on. It's especially critical if an ADA lodging accommodation is needed for any of your group members. Consider having planning meetings, either in person or via Zoom. Consider having monthly dinner planning sessions. Identify and agree on the time of the year each family group can participate. Once that's done, then agree on the duration of your multi-gen adventure. And then, lastly, agree upon the specific dates that your multi-gen adventure will start and will end. Within that specific time frame, identify which dates each family group can attend. Some can attend for the entire duration, others only for a portion. Consider some family units or family members may not be able to start or end on the same days or stay at the same lodgings. Be flexible. Different travel days may result in different airfares for certain family units of the large multi-generational group. Identify if traveling together or separately to your vacation destination. More flexibility needed when vacationing in a large group versus a single family unit. So be prepared for that. Acknowledge more flexibility is needed when traveling with everyone, not just your spouse and your children. Account for different interests and energy levels of young kids versus teens versus young middle-aged parents versus grandparents versus great-grandparents, and so on. Flying into or out of Orlando International Airport. If you are, well, consider using a car service to take you from the airport to Walt Disney World. The point person collection of suggestions and strategies will guide you and your family to organize your efforts as you proceed with the many, many planning tasks and actions for your multi-gen vacation to Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Typically, 1 or 2 point persons, planning coordinators, the entire group, who have the time and the interest. It does not mean, however, that one person does absolutely everything for everyone in the entire group. It means that typically one person is there to herd tasks, check on assigned planning tasks, and day-to-day tasks. Typically, 1 point person for each individual family unit would also be beneficial. Have multiple people be point for different aspects of the multi-generational adventures. Some people are interested in cooking, so they could take on, for example, where to make the dining reservations. Consider having mini groups become point for different planning aspects. Have point people for planning and logistical items they are good at. Mentioned earlier, the examples are cooking versus dining. Have the teens and the kids involved to take on their own assigned items as part of the planning process. This will make them feel more involved and get more buy-in for them, with, of course, adult supervision. There are various apps that can be useful to help you coordinate. This is also where a trusted travel advisor can help with the entire experience, the planning effort, to the destination or the cruise of choice. In this next section, money, who's paying, will either be the easiest or the hardest for you. Sometimes the great-grandparents or the grandparents will simply say, honey, let's just all go to Disney World. Let's bring the kids. Let's bring your sister's family too. We'll pay for everything. You just need to get us there. Other times, related families want to simply go together. Regardless, the items in this section of your guide are meant to help steer you through this sometimes delicate subject that nonetheless needs to be addressed in any multi-gen vacation. First up, must be decided early. Makes no point of proceeding too far down the road with planning efforts if you can't get agreement on who's paying for what. Need the agreement well early in the process and revisit at certain points to confirm. Critical to avoid confusion, misunderstandings, hurt feelings, etc. during the planning and during the trip. Transportation versus lodging versus group restaurant meals versus tour. Again, if more than one person is helping to fund the trip, then needs to be spelled out for whom or for what each person is contributing. The main payer of the trip, should that be your situation, should not impose their will and choose the entire itinerary. Everyone needs to have input. Lodging. Got 2 sections on lodging. This first section deals with more general accommodations, recommendations, and considerations for any multi-generational vacation to Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Don't forget about the total and or family group budgets. Because lodging is going to be, if not your greatest expense, then your second greatest expense, in most cases. Stay in accommodations close to the location of your planned activities. For example, if your group plans to go to a specific theme park at Walt Disney World, well, typically, everything else being equal, makes more sense to stay at a resort close to that theme park. Want to minimize the travel time and effort from lodging to the theme parks, water parks, group outings. Also consider minimizing the travel effort for older members of your multi-gen travel group. Staying in the same lodging makes coordinating departures and arrivals at the park of the day easier. Staying in the same lodging makes dining at that hotel or at an adjacent restaurant easier, and makes coordinating group non-park outings also easier. Request rooms close to each other and or adjoining rooms where appropriate. If you're used to staying in accommodations which cost more than where others in your group typically tend to stay, consider the financial capabilities of everyone and consider staying in the lowest common denominator. Ensure to include any ADA room requirements in your room requests. Ensure that lodging activities exist for less active members. Consider a split stay, where everyone stays at 2, or, for the adventurous, 3 different Walt Disney World resorts. Consider value or moderate resorts at the start of your trip, and then to a deluxe resort in the latter part. Disney Bell Services will handle the transfer of all the group's luggage for split stays. Identify those in the entire party who needs or may want a bathtub as opposed to a shower, or who need a shower stall, not a shower bathtub combination, and select accommodations accordingly. Before we continue, a very quick pause to ask you that if you're finding the information in this video useful for you in any way, to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, and click the notification bell to be notified the next time we publish another one of our travel videos, which is about once a week. Thank you very much. Now, in this second of the 2 lodging sections, this list has items related to staying in multi-bedroom accommodations, where more than one family can cohabit under the same roof to enhance your lifetime of memories on your multi-gen vacation. Consider multi-bedroom units versus individual hotel rooms. Multi-gen vacation memories do not start and end at the accommodation's door. This helps for planned or spontaneous babysitting, the tiny humans, if the adults want to go out for an evening. It encourages group activities inside the lodging. 3-bedroom grand villas at Walt Disney World can sleep up to 12 adults, kids, plus 1 infant, whereas 2-bedroom units can sleep up to 9 adults or children, plus an infant, whether it's through the Disney Vacation Club or directly through the Disney Resort. Consider if some of the group want to stay in their own accommodations. Consider staying in the treehouse or a cabin at the different Walt Disney World resorts. Have everyone participate in choosing which Walt Disney World themed accommodations they would prefer. Participation, even from the tiny humans, achieves more buy-in. Now in the meals section, we have grouped several strategies and ideas for you and your family to consider as you plan your Walt Disney World or Disneyland multi-generation family vacation. Consider breakfasts and dinners cooked by the group inside your Disney World hotel or Disney Vacation Club 1-bedroom plus units. Use a grocery delivery service to bring in food for the next day's in-room meals. Take into account food allergies, of course, with food and beverage deliveries. Family units within the multi-gen vacation can take turns who is point for cooking and who is point for cleaning up for different indoor meals. The guys can be point for cooking and cleaning up specific meals. The grandparents can take a turn. The grandchildren can take a turn. The tiny humans can contribute on deciding the menu for specific meals. What wonderful memories sharing tasks will create for all generations pitching in. Call into Disney Guest Services to make dining reservations for the entire or split group as soon as the dining reservation window opens, typically 60 days out from the first day of your reservation at any individual Walt Disney World resort. Those large tables can be very hard to get at some restaurants. Include 1 or 2 character dining meals while in the parks or at particular Walt Disney World resorts. The kids will love it almost as much as the mature but kid-at-heart members. Again, incredible opportunity for a lifetime of memories. Breakfast and even lunch character dining can be less expensive than at dinner. Consider dining packages for the entire group to access reserved seating for special event evenings at the theme parks. Dining package examples are typically at Magic Kingdom for the laser and fireworks show, Hollywood Studios, and at Epcot, depending, of course, on the season. There are many different ways to approach planning and enjoying your daily activities at Walt Disney World or Disneyland. So in this section, we've combined suggestions for you to consider to maximize your experience during your time in and around the theme parks with a diverse collection of ages, interests, Stamina within your family group. Acknowledge not everyone wants to do everything that everyone else does in the parks. Consider mini groups by activity interest throughout at least some days. You may want to have days or half days on 2 different activities and then reconnect over dinner. Still include some all-in group activities, of course, including the ones focused on the kids' priorities. Include consideration for time of day at different sites, different park opening and closing times. Consider, where possible and practical, sidewalks, hills, cobblestone walkways, and so on for older or mobility-challenged family members. Considerations to minimize crankiness of young and the young at heart members traveling between the different sites. Take some breaks. Leave flexibility in your daily schedule. Identify mobility and accessibility challenges of tentatively planned activities so you can work around them and accommodate everyone. Decide when and how you will tour a theme park or a water park as a group. Consider half days or full days away from the theme parks. Give everybody a break from potentially stimulation overload. And towards that end, consider having down days in the resort for those family members who do not want to be in the parks much as others. They can still meet up for breakfasts and dinners and so on. Consider planned offsetting activities. For example, a group might want to go golfing at the same time that others want to go shopping. Consider renting a car or a van and driving out to either coast for a beach day. When on site, you will never know in advance exactly which combination of family members of your multi-generational family group will decide to split off for a while to do this or that. In this trip information sharing section, we provide a reminder of the different types of information that all family members of your group should be provided with about each other prior to or at the start of your vacation. Create shared note for everyone in a list every adult and teen and tween will have on their smartphone. Trip itinerary of which lodging at Walt Disney World or otherwise with its address and contact information for each day of the trip. Walt Disney World theme park packing checklist of must-take items into the parks. For example, critical when multi-gen group breaks into subgroups for part of the day. You never want to be without a water bottle, hat, smartphone battery charger, sunblock, and so on when you're in the parks all day. Location of Walt Disney World customer service and first aid locations in each theme park, water park, and at Disney Springs should be part of that shared list. Should also include a designated meeting spot if separated for each park day. Medications of everyone with pictures of the prescription from the original bottles. Food allergies of everyone. Contact cell phone numbers, of course, for every member of your multi-generational group. And consider using an app to locate everyone throughout the day so you know precisely where they are. With any collection of family members spending time together over several days, it's important to be flexible. Multi-gen vacations is no different. So, in this section, we provide you with strategies and ideas to help everyone maximize their enjoyment with each other during your stay. Expect the unexpected. Flexibility for weather impacts. Hot, cold, rain. Again, it's Central Florida or California after all. Consider alternating indoor and outdoor activities throughout the day or from one day to the next to give everyone a break from the elements outdoors. Include unplanned time every day or every other day. Unplanned time could be at the same time every day, say between 2 and 5 p.m. Build in playtime each and every day. Build in unstructured time each and every day. It is okay to split up into subgroups for higher or lower adrenaline attractions. Consider certain family members of the entire group wanting to sleep in and join the others at whichever park they are at that day. Hang in there. There's a couple of more sections to get to before we get to your free bonus. Next, we have a collection of ideas and tips for you and your family to consider when smaller groups of your larger multi-generational vacation group may want to split away for a short time during your stay. Perhaps you want a couples night out. Perhaps a multi-generational girls' night and guys' night out. For a common grouped interest, roller coasters versus shopping versus golfing. Perhaps kids programs, scavenger hunts in museums or at the theme parks. Build in alone time for individual families who want it. Alone time may even help with the stress of being with so many family members for hours or days at a time. Don't forget skip gen activities, memories both ways. There are numerous YouTube videos, some even here on our own Nancy and Dan Travel YouTube channel, on how to make the most of your time when inside the theme parks at Walt Disney World, Disneyland. With that in mind, this section has a few of what we believe are amongst the most important to consider on a multi-gen vacation. Splitting up for some attractions so everyone can do their must-do attractions. Coordinating to see indoor shows that all age groups will enjoy throughout the day. Again, consideration for the climate. Make sure your whole multi-gen family is listed as family and friends in the My Disney Experience app. The My Disney Experience app, or MDE, is needed for Genie Plus, even if some do not go on this or that ride. The whole party does not have to be on identical reservations when you use the My Disney Experience app. However, My Disney Experience app is definitely needed for any attractions where you access by the way of virtual ride queues. And lastly, we have a few more suggestions for you to consider after you've returned from your multi-generational vacation to the happiest or the most magical place on earth. Create a post-vacation photo album or video album that's shared with everyone. Include pictures and videos from all travelers of all generations. Interesting to see what the tiny humans take. And lastly, start planning your next multi-gen vacation. As promised, if you've made it this far in our video, you are serious about planning for your own multi-generational vacation. Our bonus gift to you is that all of the recommendations and ideas in our multi-generational travel planning guide for Walt Disney World is available in a PDF version, which you can access in the link below. You may even want to distribute it to some or all of your family members thinking of joining you on your multi-generational vacation to help simplify your efforts and guide all of you. Again, it's free. We hope we have helped you with your own planning efforts. If there are, again, additional suggestions which you have not covered, which work well for you in the past, please let us know in the comments so we can include them in the next version of our ultimate guide for an unforgettable Walt Disney World multi-gen vacation. Thank you. We'll see you next time.